Hello, everybody. So I wanted to do some content regarding why things appear to be fracturing due to the release and what's coming out of the Epstein files, things to be a bit wary of, and my belief on why this is all happening. So this is liable to be long, so if you've got no attention span, just go away, okay? This is serious stuff, and I don't have the patience for people like you. So, as many of you will be aware, there seems to be this kind of increase in information and documents coming out left, right, and centre, with more and more horrific stuff coming out. Now, some of the creators that have been coming up on my feed, I wholeheartedly agree with them that the reason why they are no longer restricting us from posting stuff about this is because it's a psyop. It's designed to overload your nervous system with the horror, and in effect put you into some form of spiritual psychosis. Now, from where I'm at, I'm of the camp where we should be angry about this. Okay, it's disgusting and it's wrong. However, and this might upset a few people, it's just my belief in how I see this. You should be angry about this. You should be extremely angry about this. However, please bear in mind that they want to make you angry for two reasons. Number one, that anger, that energy, they can use that. Okay, dark energy that they are working with feeds off things like anger. Now, if you follow my readings, my tarot readings, you'll know that I say it's okay to be angry, sad, pissed off, annoyed about any situation. You're a human being, you live in the human experience. But it's about not getting stuck there. Okay? So be angry, but transmute it. Transmute that anger into action. Proactive, positive action. Okay? Don't let it dip into rage. Because the problem is, with anger and rage, it means we then lose control of the situation. Okay? Because you're in a headspace, you're in a mind space, you're in a frequency that no longer puts you in control. Now, I've been quite disturbed and angry about what's been coming out. Of course I have. However, because I've been semi-aware of the potential of this, and I've never had any faith in regard to the type of people that rule the world, it's not the biggest shock and horror to me. Okay, I'm of a generation whereby we were fed on movies like RoboCop, Aliens, Predator, gore. So as a human being and as an autistic human being, I am angry, I am disgusted, I'm fairly desensitized, as many of you of you will be. Now, the problem is that what we're facing here at the moment, in a spiritual sense, is that we've got a number of camps. So if we just kind of group them together just to keep things simple. So the majority here in the UK, at least, because I'm seeing a lot of US based content, and as I've always said, the US are about 10, 15, 20 years ahead of us spiritually. Over here, there's the masses are silent, absolutely silent. Okay, I am pretty much, as far as I have seen, the only UK active member of the spiritual industry / community who is actively doing content and talking about this. Now, I'm fully aware that there'll be a certain amount of rhetoric between the middle-aged women that I've gone into spiritual psychosis. I've lost the plot. I haven't. You lot have. Okay, I understand the severity of the situation. So the mass populace is in a state of denial, or they're non-player characters. They just have not got a clue. Okay. Yeah. We've then got a kind of populace who are aware of what's going off, but the details and the trauma attached to it are too much to bear, so they're burying their head in the sand about it. Okay. We've then got the more religious-based doctrine that are saying just ignore it all because it's designed to affect your vibration. Now, it's not about ignoring it all for me. I'm of the belief system, as I say, I preach duality. It's about standing your ground. Standing your ground, right? What should have happened was that this information comes out and people across the world should have stood up, took those leaders down, took the ruling parties at the top down, and then we'd structure a new system. The problem is that these people who rule the lot, I'm not talking about Trump, I'm talking about above that, they have prophesized this. They have prophesized this. Now, in my opinion, you look at something like the GATE program, which was active in the States, in the UK, in the late 70s, in the 80s, up till the early 90s. They were for me, the GATE program is twofold, and I can't tell you what happened and what the intricacies of it are because I don't know. Okay, nobody seems to know. But for me, thinking about it, there's two things that were happening there. Number one, it was about dulling everybody of that age range's psychic abilities by making them take fluoride tablets, by drinking fluoride, etc., etc. The second phase of it was identifying the prophesized chosen ones and star seeds that were coming through. Now, I believe in my case, I slipped through the net. Why? Because I was supposed to go to a special education class once a week, and I didn't want to go. I went once, and I just slipped back into the normal classroom, and the teacher didn't notice. Okay, so I feel like I slipped through the radar. Okay, yeah. So there's a certain amount of control that's gone off there, which is dulled the general populace, and also was designed to identify the star seeds and the chosen ones to either stop them or corrupt them. Okay, at an early age, because this has all been prophesized. This has all been prophesized. Okay. So unfortunately, the mass populace has been brainwashed, been dulled, etc., etc. So they're one step ahead there. Okay, they're one step ahead there. You know, you look at people who are actually targeted, such as myself. Now, I'm not talking about anything different than what a lot of the American creators are doing, and some of the UK-based creators. There might not be sort of a spiritual aspect, but what's going off. You look at the views and engagement that the Americans are getting talking about this same stuff. Why am I still stuck at 300 views out? Why is that? Targeted. Yeah. What I would say to people is, because I've had a conversation with a friend. We were talking about this on my live the other night, and yeah, I appreciate that people have other horrors and traumas and stuff like going off in their life. I appreciate there's people who will be carrying trauma from certain situations that don't necessarily feel that they can handle talking about this, and that's perfectly fine. Now, what I said to my friend was, I'm not expecting people to be shouting from the rooftops, okay? Because for some people, it's too scary, it's too much. It's about being aware that this stuff is going off, okay? And supporting creators like me who are going to spread the message and the word. That is what we are here to do. You know, from my side, as I always say, I'm not here to lead the world. I am here to get on with my readings, activate the people who can then see the truth and then push forwards and make the change in their own way. So my role has always been very clear cut to me. It is about the deconstruction of the spiritual UK scene, if you want to call it that, and bringing back the eternal way of life. Okay, in a new form. Okay, so people like me, we need your support if you're feeling too overwhelmed. Now, just going back to the bombarding you with all this information, if you are feeling overwhelmed, and I got quite overwhelmed by it the other day, not so much in regard to what was coming out, because like I say, sadly, I've been quite desensitized to it, but more in regard to realizing how many people are non-player characters, how many people just are too afraid, too scared, and won't do anything. And the gravitas of what we are facing here, that's what I felt overwhelmed by. Take a step back, right? Understand that this is a psyop. This is designed to throw you off course. This is designed to make you go pop, right? So if you're being bombarded with content, take a step back, take some time away from screen time, search something a little bit lighter, just to it's not about ignoring it when you're taking that time away. It's about keeping the old mental health in check. Okay, so don't be afraid to take a step away. Right. Sadly, due to the complete lack of engagement and outrage by the general masses, this isn't going to change overnight. Now, as we're all aware, anybody who's down the rabbit hole, this in itself will be being used as another control tactic, and it's kind of intertwined with the ice raids and stuff like that, and it's all designed so that you don't know where you're looking, and it's to throw you off. Now, I can't say it because apparently we're now restricting certain things, but think back what happened in 2019. Okay. Apparently people are getting restricted for content that's in regard to that now. Now, for me personally, and I could be wrong, those injections, they weren't about microchipping people and stuff like that. Why would they need to? What a waste of money. We walk around with mobile phones. No, for me, it was about control. It was a control test. Can we dupe the masses into fear, staying at home, believing this is going off, and we'll just kind of release some pretty nasty flu virus out there? It's going to kill a few people, granted, but so does the flu every year. Okay. It was a control test. Okay. There are more in place now. Intertwined with that, the ice raids, well, releasing all this information and bombarding us, it's taking us off course to the fact that is going off, but that was also a distraction tactic from the release of the episode, and it's a big game plan. Now, this all stems from our original creators, the Anunnaki. Okay. Now, when you look at Sumerian texts, and again, a lot of spiritual people, for me, get this wrong because they said that they came to Earth, and it doesn't matter if you believe in the globe theory or the flat Earth. So Nibiru was a planet out in the ether, or a land beyond the ice wall. Okay. They came here because Nibiru wasn't dying. Nibiru was destroyed. Why was it destroyed? Because they were harvesting children there. Now, it talks about the Anunnaki coming here to harvest and mine gold. Now, I've been saying for approximately 2.5 years now, it wasn't physical gold that they were mining for. They were harvesting and mining human souls, because your soul emits gold frequency. That is what they were harvesting. That is what they were mining. Okay. And if you believe that they weren't using code words there, that is their version of pizza. They were mining for gold to save Nibiru. Nibiru had gone. It had been destroyed. Okay. And they were repopulating. Now, if you follow the ancient Sumerian stories of the Anunnaki, when they first created this slave race of human beings, the human beings weren't able to copulate and birth their own offspring. Now, why was it so important, if they could genetically create us, for us to breed? Because when you stop and think about it, if you want a slave race, surely you don't want them to breed, especially if you can create them yourself. You could just create more once they'd served their purpose. And it was Inanna who decided that she was going to conceive one of these human things. Now, in ancient Sumerian, Inanna is classed as the divine feminine. So she birthed the first human being. Now, why would they want us to kind of procreate? Babies. Okay? We need to understand that the Anunnaki are still here. I know some people talk about this late race of lizard people. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if I believe that, because for me, everybody here on planet Earth, you might have an alien based soul, but I don't think that you're actually a reptilian. Okay. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Quite happy to admit that. We are just batteries. That is what we are. We are batteries. Now, with the invention and the way AI is going, some of those batteries aren't going to be needed because they won't really need a workforce, will they? When they can create a self-aware working robot at the BMW factory, do you really think that they need you where they have to pay you? No. So what's slowly going to happen if they get what they want is they're going to slowly wipe out the human race. Okay. And all that will be left is people to breed, to produce offspring so that they can eat them. Because these people, and they are people, feed off that. Now, it's no surprise to me that women who are stepping into their divine power don't want children. Why? Because they carry that energy stream of Shakti, the divine feminine in Hinduism, or I should say the eternal way of life, within them. Inanna would have done, because it is energy, not a person. And so horrified is the divine feminine that she created the first human being only to be used as feed to these monsters. They don't want to do that anymore. Now, if we switch to the Egyptian pantheon, Isis and Osiris are deemed potentially the divine masculine and feminine. Well, what did Set do? Set killed Osiris, chopped off his winky so that he could not breed any more offspring. And Isis had to bring him back for a short period to conceive Horus, who started the Pyramid Wars. Now, these monsters have been about since day dot. They have been doing this since the dawn of time. Okay? Most of who you people pray to are these monsters. Again, Amen means Amun Ra, aka Marduk. That is who you are praying to. The narrative and the story keeps getting changed because people are focusing on things like Baal and Baphomet and stuff like that. That is Christian-based doctrine. This goes further back. And you can dress it up as whatever goat or devil you want. It is always the same energy stream. It is Anunnaki energy stream. They came here not to mine gold, but to harvest your souls and eat your children. They've been in control since day dot, up until the Tartarian Empire, when the teachings of Yeshua actually did spread across most of the world. And we had things like free energy. This is all about power and control and feeding offers. And if people don't wake up to this and start standing in their power and realizing that they have the ability to change, that everything around them is trying to program them from television to the crap that they're pumping out into the sky to the fluoride in the water that we drink, then we're all fucked, basically, because the plan is to slowly exterminate us and replace us with AI. Have women acting as baby farms so that they can steal and eat the babies. Now, I know this sounds completely far-fetched. I know it does. But try digging a little deeper. Now, the good news is that there are people here to help. The good news is there is stuff that has been done in the astral realms to try and protect what is going off, to try and push back that darkness. One of the things being that what the Romans tortured Yeshua for, aka Jesus, which was not a physical thing, it was an astral thing. Some of you will know them as tablets. They have been recovered. They have been put in place and they are safe. They are currently generating an atmospheric energy out in the ether, which is helping to push back this dark negative energy. Believe me, don't believe me. As always, I do not give a shit. I may be a lunatic. I do not have spiritual psychosis. Anybody who is not talking about this, anybody who's not thinking outside the box, you are the people that have spiritual psychosis. To ignore this is spiritual psychosis. To not be able to handle the truth of the matter, you have spiritual psychosis. Now, I appreciate that most people won't be able to handle what I'm saying, and that is perfectly fine. But for those who can understand what I am saying, for those who are brave enough, start doing your own content. Because you could sit here and say, Richard, well, if you're so passionate about this, why are you not leading the charge? I can't lead the charge because nobody views my content, because I am targeted and I'm restricted. So it is down to you people, I'm afraid. Okay, if I can't get my views over 300, if I can't get people paying me for my work daily so that I can afford to survive, I sure as shit cannot lead a rebellion. Okay, so it's time for you people to step up if you feel brave enough. If you don't, that is fine, but be aware of the situation. Okay, this goes far deeper, far further back in time, and far beyond anything that even the ones down the rabbit hole are talking about. It's time to wake up, people. It's time to stand up if you are at least semi-awake. And it's time to leave this bullshit rhetoric behind that we should just say nothing and pretend it's not happening so you can elevate. That comes from religious, Christian-based doctrine. It is light side lies and it will keep you trapped. Until next time, may the odds ever be in your favour. Ta-ta.